Fine.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Elick?
Here.
Mr. Gebhardt?
Here.
Ms. Karstafen?
Here.
Mr. Hauser?
Here.
And Mrs. Seguin.
Here.
Would everybody please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to the August 17th, 2022 Elyria Board of Education meeting. I'd like to introduce our group up here. To my right is Board Member and Vice President Mike Gebhardt. To his right is Board Member Elaine Sequin. I'm Greg Elick. To my left is Board Member Annie Karstafen. To her left is Board Member Len Hauser. To his left is our Superintendent Ann Slosh. And way down in the end is the award-winning treasurer Joy Clickinger. Okay, today, big day here, as you can see. It's not 80 degrees and it's not falling apart. We've opted for brand new,
Polar Express.
changes, yeah, and it's about 60 degrees here, so, but we're very happy to be here and very excited about our new dig. So let's get moving on the board meeting. I believe we do not have any visitors and presentations today, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so we'll jump right into business. First thing on the agenda for the Board of Education is the OSBA Capital Conference. We would, let me see here. First thing is to discuss the delegate and alternates for the OSBA 2022 OSBA Capital Conference. We will have Mike Gebhardt will be the delegate, and the alternates will be Annie Karstafen and Greg Elick. So are we doing this all on one motion, Madam Treasurer?
Yes, we can do it.
Okay, and the second item on the OSBA Capital Conference is to approve board members to attend the 2022 OSBA Capital Conference in Columbus, November 13th through 15th, 2022, including related expenses. So I'll ask for a motion to approve the delegates and to approve the attendance and expenses for the meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion by Board Member Sequin. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Gebhardt. Any questions or comments? With none, Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Seguin.
Aye.
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Ms. Karstafen?
Aye.
Mr. Hauser?
Aye.
And Mr. Elick.
Aye, motion carries. Next is the minutes. The minutes for the July 20th, 2022 meeting were posted. Hopefully everybody's had a time to review those. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I have a motion by Board Member Gebhardt. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Karstafen. Any questions or comments? With none, Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Ms. Karstafen?
Aye.
Mr. Hauser?
Aye.
Mrs. Seguin?
Aye.
And Mr. Elick.
Aye, motion carries. Madam Treasurer, do you have action items for us this evening?
Yes, I have just a couple. The first one is to approve the startup cash for the different groups as noted in the agenda. The second item is to approve the annual commercial paper report as required by law. And those are my items this evening.
Okay, we have two items on the Treasurer's action items. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I have a motion by Board Member Karstafen. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Hauser. Any comments or questions? With none, Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Karstafen?
Aye.
Mr. Hauser?
Aye.
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Mrs. Seguin?
Aye.
And Mr. Elick.
Aye, motion carries. Okay, looks like you also have some OFCC, OSFC items for us this evening.
Yes, the first item is a change order. I'm asking to approve change order 2 for the renovation project as was detailed in the enclosure. And the second item is to approve the change order for the use of contingency as noted in the enclosure.
Okay, two items on there for the OFCC, OSFC. Do I have a motion to approve the two items?
So moved.
Motion by Board Member Sequin. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Gebhardt. Questions or comments?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The parking lot, is this the parking lot that we're talking about?
No, we're talking about the parking lot over at Crestwood.
Okay, but that's the one that's gonna be replaced?
Correct. Right
And-
with this change order.
And is this something they just found? Or is it because of the traffic coming in and out, the trucks?
No, it's just the way it was built, 50 years ago? And now those standards have changed, and to replace what needs to be replaced, we have to
Okay.
put a different base in it, basically. Those are my layman's terms.
Okay.
That's it. Okay.
Sounded like it was a wreck. It's a wreck, so it's gotta be done.
It's gotta be
Yeah,
done.
yeah.
Any other questions or comments? Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Sequin?
Aye.
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Ms. Karstafen?
Aye.
Mr. Hauser?
Aye.
And Mr. Elick?
Aye, motion carries. Any other items for us this evening, Madam Treasurer?
No, sir.
Okay. Madam Superintendent, action items this evening.
Okay, thank you. Bear with me, there's a lot. If I start coughing, it's all joys. First of all, to approve the payment of the following stipends below. To approve the following meal prices for the 22-23 school year. I will tell you, we're communicating this with parents and explaining. Also to approve the agreement with Verizon Wireless as detailed below. To approve the Open Door Speech and Language Contract for the 22-23 school year, and also their support services contract. To approve the agreement with the ESC of Northeast Ohio for Achievement Centers for Children. To approve the Applewood contract for the 22-23 school year. To approve the contract for Cleveland Hearing and Speech for interpreters for this school year coming up. To approve the contract for the PSI affiliates with Elyria Catholic for this year, and to approve the payment of stipends as listed below for certified staff. To approve the payment of stipends as detailed below for IEP legal updates, and that concludes my action items.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the superintendent action items?
Motion to approve?
A motion by Board Member Hauser. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Karstoffen. Comments and questions?
Have you been getting any feedback from parents regarding the pricing?
Not yet. I will say, I just mentioned, I did write the governor and Lieutenant Governor Husted, and I did get a response that they're looking into it. California just decided to continue the free lunches for another year. We'd love for them to do the same in Ohio. So they are looking into it, but after going 2 years of not having to pay, I think there'll be a bit of a learning curve that it's back. We also have started the work for getting our baseline for Provision 2 back in the schools where it expired over that 2-year period. And Provision 2 was at Crestwood, Oakwood, Westwood, and Hamilton. So all students used to eat free of charge there. So we're trying to, it actually would end up just being Westwood campus and Hamilton. And we're gonna work on getting their baselines this year just in case. So we are in constant communication, and we will continue to work with parents. The key is getting parents to fill out the forms, and whether they feel they are or not, that is really vital. They may be able to qualify for reduced lunch even, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, on that note, I thought that throwing the 20% all in 1 year might be a little on the excessive side for the way the economy is.
Yeah.
I understand that we haven't had increases in the last 2 years. This would be, would it be 3 years? No, 2 years, okay. I don't know.
Food costs are driving a lot of that. Right now, food costs are through the roof.
No, I understand
And
that.
they're really struggling. We have asked them to look at options that, and do the best they can. Again, I'm hoping the governor, maybe some of that CARES Act money that they're still sitting on could be used for another year or even phasing it in. So hopefully we'll get a response soon.
Okay, sounds good. Any other questions or comments? With none, Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Hauser?
Aye.
Ms. Karstafen?
Aye.
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Mrs. Segwin?
Aye.
And Mr. Elick?
Aye, motion carries. Madam Superintendent, you've been busy here. We have a lot of personnel action items.
Yes, actually, the team's been busy. I can't take all the credit. But first of all, to approve the resignation of the following certified staff, to approve the resignation of another certified staff member, to approve the unpaid leave of absence for the following certified staff, to approve the appointment of the following administrative staff. As you know, we've had changes, and I'll introduce a few of them to you after this. To approve the appointment of the following certified staff as detailed below. And as you can see, we have 45-ish new certified staff members and about 20 new classified staff members this year so far. We have, as you can see, substitute, tutors, and everything being hired. To approve the appointment of the following, what we call cells, but community engagement, it's part of our school quality grant from the federal programs. To approve the supplemental contracts for the 22-23 year. To approve the following athletic supplemental contracts for certified staff, as detailed below. To approve the following district and non-district game workers, as listed. To approve the following payment for rental events during the school year, as listed below. To approve the resignation of a classified administrative staff member. To approve the resignation of the following classified staff. To approve the appointment of the following certified staff as detailed below. And as you can see, we've had a lot of moving around. To approve the inclusion of mileage, this was inadvertently left off Mr. Kokai's contract. It had already been in there for years, so we had to add it. And that concludes my personnel items.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the superintendent's personnel action items?
So moved.
Do I have a motion by Board Member Karstoffen? Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Seek. Comments and questions? I have a comment on the mileage stipend. I'm just curious, how does that work? Do we have what's known as an accountable plan that, or is it just compensation to them?
It's just compensation.
Okay,
It's
all right. All right, any other questions or comments?
LTS, building sub teacher, is that just long-term subs in a
You
building?
got it. You're getting the acronyms of education.
So they just are there to help whomever?
They're there for whatever period the person they're covering for. So for instance, if it's a maternity leave, maybe 6 weeks. If it's a whole year that teacher is out, it could be a whole year.
Okay. So it's, I just wonder, because the salary looked like a yearly salary.
Are you talking about the building subs or long-term?
LTS, building sub teacher.
The building sub, we started using those last year. So if you're a building sub, you stay at that building all year and cover as people are out.
Okay, so just where needed.
Sometimes we'll move them if there's no one
Yeah.
out that day.
Okay, that's what I assumed it was.
It keeps about 10 of our really good subs in district.
Okay, okay, that makes sense.
Okay. Any other comments or questions?
I guess, I have abstained, my wife is on there.
Yeah, usually we have that as a separate.
We should have had it as a separate my air.
You can carve out 5 or Nancy individually, but
Okay,
the motion as it's currently stated, you have to.
okay.
Okay.
So let's carve out,
Do you want to?
do you want to, or?
I
No,
think
let's not
we'll
carve.
roll the dice and see how it goes.
Yeah, that's
here,
fine,
so.
that's fine. I think we'll be okay.
All right, so we have a motion, we have a second. With no more discussion, Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Karstafen?
Aye.
Mrs. Segwin?
Aye.
Mr. Gebhardt?
Abstain.
Mr. Hauser,
Aye.
and Mr. Elick.
Aye, motion carries. Mrs. Gebhardt has a job. Okay, what's next on the agenda here? Superintendent report, Madam Treasurer.
Before I do that, I would like to, Mr. Newark has one
Oh,
one
okay.
teacher that's not in her room setting up. That
All right.
is here. So, would you like to introduce?
So this evening, we have Shelby Thompson here this evening, and before I came tonight, wasn't sure how many teachers would be here, because I haven't had an opportunity to meet all of them yet. But I said it's nice to see Shelby come back to Elyria. I remember her as a student in this building,
Okay.
as well as Elyria High. I remember her talking about going to college and education, so it's great that we were able to hire her back into the district.
Great. Great, welcome back, Shelby. All
And then
right,
we have a couple new administrators that are here. First, I'll go ahead and introduce Joel, and then I'm gonna let Tim and Joel introduce their new assistants. So Joel, Melvin was Jody Johnson's assistant at Franklin
Great.
for several years, and he did a great job in the interview process, and we kept him here. So Joel, Melvin is our new Hamilton principal.
Great, congratulations.
And go ahead and introduce your new sidekick there.
This year is Katie Huff. She had been a fourth grade math/science teacher at Hamilton for the last 4 years. She's demonstrated amazing leadership qualities, and we were able to convince her to take that leap. So very excited to have Katie on board, and I know she's excited too. So.
Great, congratulations.
I think you might recognize Katie. She's been coming to board meetings for about a year as she's been getting her license and everything. So she's very much a pioneer. So, Tim?
Going to draw your attention to the other side of the room.
Oh.
Pleased to introduce you to Angie Perkins. Angie Perkins has been an English language arts teacher at Elyria High School for I think the last 15, 16 years. And we're fortunate now we have a great young staff of aspiring administrators, and Angie's going to be the Team 1 assistant principal.
Great,
Elyria.
congratulations.
Angie's been our RESA mentor to teachers for the last couple years. She took over 4 years since Teresa Brown left. So she's had some leadership experience and demonstrated the ability to take the next step.
Great.
And I'm trying to look, have I forgotten anybody? No, we're good. So now I'm going to move to report.
Okay, absolutely.
First and foremost, tomorrow is our picnic for staff. So the building will be closed. We're doing picnic and PD Friday morning. So the building is closed. The buildings are closed tomorrow starting at 2:30 until noon on Friday. And we have put that out on social media and everything and out to our parents. Also, I've voted about 24 times. So we're the game of the week for EC and Elyria. I've gone on every website I possibly could because they need to see us win again this year. So anyone who can, be at EC tomorrow night so they can see or Friday night. Oh, it is 2 days away. Sorry, it all runs together. So please come out and support the Pioneers to beat EC. Also, I do have to say, we've had all the new staff here over the last few days. A lot of staff in the buildings working. The dedication that you see out there, it's just really great. And I have to say, we have done a great job of hiring some really great new teachers, staff, and classified staff this year. We're really excited. And then, that I think is all I have.
Okay, great. Thank you, Madam Superintendent. Board of Education items. We have one item of business. We need to approve second reading and adoption of the following policies. The 4 are listed there. Do I have a motion to approve the second reading of these policies?
So moved.
A motion by Board Member Karstoffen. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Hauser. Any questions or comments?
I actually do. I wasn't here last meeting when we had the first reading of them. So on just the dress code, Mike and I were just talking, is this our complete dress code?
The good grooming,
It just says student dress code. Just this page. Is this the whole dress code?
we have, I'm gonna let Denise speak to that, but we have in our red
Student
book,
code of
good
conduct,
grooming.
there is a separate
Yeah.
section on student dress code and guidelines for good grooming that goes into more detail. I'm not sure what the.
So this is the policy and that's in the student.
Correct.
Mhm, yeah.
What that
So board
was
policy
an
is one
update.
thing, and then code of conduct may go into that a little deeper.
So the updates on the policy were mostly clerical. And policy tends to be a lot more general, and the regulations and the
Sure.
other things
Sure.
are much more detailed.
And if I remember correctly, these new ones came out with legislation. They're usually just typical minor things that switch language. And so
Yeah.
OSBA, the board policy company that we contract with, will send updates of those. So ours are in line with the current legislation that's out.
It's on the
Board
website,
policy.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm. It's actually, when you go under your guys' Board of Education, you can search any board policy and it comes up right under that.
So now explain one more time the difference between the policy and the code of conduct.
Well, the code of conduct is what we put out to all students that has been, and you also act on that and approve the code of conduct. And that goes into a lot more detail
Okay.
of day-to-day, good, you'll see there's a ton of things under good grooming.
Okay.
It's not called dress code.
And that's available right on the website. So if
Absolutely.
you want to look at the detail of the
Yeah.
code of conduct,
Yeah.
you can just go to the
Code
website.
of conduct's under my on pupil services page.
Yeah, I think I've seen it before,
Okay.
but now I have another question, because under the policy, it's what's deleted is students must follow the guidelines for good grooming covered in the code of conduct.
So that's all updated accordingly. I could sit down and go with those for you detailed. I don't have it in front of me to reference, but I could go over that with you in more detail.
It doesn't have to reference it in the policy, because
To
you
still
board,
have it.
also board approved the code of conduct.
No, I understand.
And that's
It's just
probably
it's
what the
stressed out.
update was, is they try to keep the board policy very generic
vague.
in case other things change.
Okay.
Because otherwise, we would be changing the policy a lot,
Okay, that's understandable.
if that makes sense.
Well, maybe just to help clarify that confusion, maybe you can put it on the list to have the code of conduct for the dress code forwarded to the board members. So everybody can
Sure.
do a
I think
quick
we
refresher
approved it
on
about in June,
Yeah.
but I will
I
have
email a
Denise
copy
send
of
it.
that to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, super. Any other questions or comments?
No.
You mean from the board?
I think we need a motion, or we need to vote on this. and then
Okay,
we'll go through that, so, okay, you want to call the roll, Madam Treasurer, please?
Ms. Karstafen?
Aye.
Mr. Hauser?
Aye.
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Mrs. Segwin?
Aye.
And Mr. Elick?
Aye, motion carries. And any other items for the good of the cause, fellow board members?
Yes, I just have one. Just want to make you all aware that I, as a board member, and there's some other community leaders and my church, Greater Christ Temple in Elyria, we're going to be doing a health fair and a back-to-school giveaway. And we're doing this after school starts. And the reason that we're doing it after school starts is because we want to kind of get with administration and find out what some of the teachers are missing and try to fill some of those gaps if we can. So we're partnering with Urban League and some other entities, community action agencies and the NAACP and other, groups in the community. And we're going to have the Northern Institute of Cosmetology. It's my understanding that they are going to close their building that day and send all of their guys over and girls over to cut hair for all of the little students from Save Our Children and all of those. They can come over and get free haircuts. So we're doing just a big community day to try to assist the community on that day. So if you want to stop by and say hi or whatever to the little kids, please do so.
And where is
That's
that
going to
at
be
again?
August the 27th, and that's at Greater Christ Temple, 123 Oberlin Road in Elyria, right at Oberlin and Middle Avenue. And that's in the 5th Ward, I believe.
Annie, can we get a online version of the flyer so we can send it out?
Yes, I'll just share it with you because it's already online. Yes,
Perfect.
definitely, yes.
All right. Thank you. Other items for the good of the cause, since I see him in here somewhere, Mr. Rigda. We've talked for a while about getting some final accounting on our different buildings that we've built here. And although we're not completely done, Mr. Rigda has agreed to come in and go over those final numbers. So we're looking at potentially the middle of September, where we'll find out how we did on each building. And he's been working with Joy and the team on getting some information, so we look forward to that and getting some ideas here. I often ask about the budgets being over budget, under budget on the buildings, and it's kind of a maze right now, so I'm looking forward to getting a very succinct final accounting here. I don't know if that's possible yet, but I'm sure Mr. Rigda won't let us down there, and we're looking at the middle of September. Any other items for the good of the cause?
The picnic tomorrow is at the stadium, right?
3 to 5 at the stadium
Okay.
for all staff.
All right, any other items? With none, I will ask for a motion to request an executive session to consider matters required to be kept confidential by federal law or regulations or state statutes, and to consider the purchase of property for public purposes or for the sale of property at competitive bidding if premature disclosure of information would give an unfair, competitive, or bargaining advantage to a person whose personal private interest is adverse to the public interest as authorized under Ohio Revised Code, Section 121.22. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
I have a first, second. I guess we'll go with, for the record, Mr. Hauser coming in first and Mr. Gebhardt second. Sorry. Madam Treasurer, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Hauser?
Aye.
Mr. Gebhardt?
Aye.
Ms. Karstafen?
Aye.
Mrs. Segwin?
Aye.
And Mr. Elick?
Aye, motion carries. And I believe that's, well, nothing to follow, correct? So, okay.